How you doing?
Hey, how you doing today, Evolution? I'm doing great.
Hey man, I'm doing great as well, man. You ready to get into this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man, let's go.
What's going on?
Hey, but hey, I digging it for real, man. What's going on? What's up?
What's going on?
And all the money.
What's going on? Hey, good morning, everybody. I am Evolution, and to my right or your left, uh, we got Mister.
Poetics, how y'all doing today? Thanks for
Hey
joining
man,
us.
hey man, for sure. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us and supporting us and all that good stuff. And as we normally do, we look at the sponsorship before we get into it. So let's get that out the way. GG's Lounge, CGBTG, Golden Hammer Productions, Vibe, VYV, shake it, sniff it, and get your thought process going. If you're a little sluggish, picks you up a little bit so you can get active for the day. Help support the show and get that discount. Go to myvibe.com, type in Lution15, Lution15, and there you go. Poetics, man. Been a
Yes,
couple of
sir.
weeks of a gap. We had some things going on, man. Had to get some upgrades and all that good stuff. But man, life is good, man. Can't complain, man.
Man, likewise.
Yeah, we've been having some beautiful weather, man.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, today's topic. I think it's a good one, man. I think it's a good one. I think it needs to be heard as well. This is actually your idea, man. So, congrats to contributing to the topics of the show once again, because you've done it before, and it always comes out well. So, with
Cool.
that being said, there are still good people among us, or there are still good people in the world. Since it's your idea, bro, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny, man, that the idea actually came due to a situation that occurred that me and my wife never saw coming. We just kind of went out to dinner, went on a dinner date, and we were actually thinking like we might pay for this other couple next to us for their meal,
Mm-hmm.
and they were already there before, so we didn't quite get a chance to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but they ended up paying for our meal.
Man, that's incredible, man. Ain't that something?
So it's
That
just kind of, it was one of those things where I was like, wow, there are still good people in the world, you know?
Yeah, man, and that's a beautiful statement on both ends because y'all were actually thinking of doing that for the other people, and obviously they were not only thinking it to do it for y'all, but they did it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So help me understand, bro. How did it happen? I mean, what exactly went down when you actually knew that they had paid for your meal? Uh, Go
Yeah,
ahead.
man, it was just kind of, so we got ready to, uh, getting close to us, time to exit and all that. So we were like, getting the money out so we can pay for our meal and all that.
Hmm.
And the server was like, well, the couple that just left not too long ago was actually the one who paid for your meal. And we were just like, what?
Wow, that's crazy, man. But so they did it and just wanted to do something good for somebody else.
And
And go ahead.
yeah, it was one of those things where it was like they didn't even want to be recognized by us
Right,
for it. It was kind of like they just kind of wanted to do it, I guess, humbly, if you will.
man. And that's a great word, humbly. Wow, man, that's incredible, man. I'm glad that you had that experience. Um, I had that experience once. Since you brought that up, I was in line. It was holiday time, and dude, it was an interesting year. I'll say it like that. And I was out looking for some gift items for my sons, man. And I was in line, and I'm up here thinking, about everything I got to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just really not thinking about anything else. Long line. I'm waiting. And I get up to the register, and they're like, "You're good to go." I'm like, "Huh?" And there's like, the gentleman in front of you whispered to us that he wanted to pay for your items as well. And
Wow.
I'm like, "You kidding me, right?" He's like, "No." It's like they wanted it to be a silent deal. They didn't want to make it a loud announcement, and they wanted to just pay it forward, or whatever, how you want to look at it, man. So I was like, dude, that was incredible because my items, weren't cheap. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
I was like, dude, man, that's it's a blessing, man. It's good people out there, and
Man.
I carried that with me for a minute, man, and then like 2 weeks later, it happened again, right? Um, so in this case, man, I think I was just reaching for some change, and the people in front of me, they're like, "Don't worry, we got this." I'm like, "Excuse me?" It's like, "Yeah, just make sure you pay it forward to someone else, whenever you have the opportunity." And I'm like,
Wow.
dude, so it happened like twice in a small period of time. So yes, absolutely, I can identify with what you're saying, bro. And there are still good people among us, and there are still good people in the world, man. Um,
Man.
they,
That's
they are,
awesome.
yeah, man, they are few and far in between, but they're out there, right?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, man, let's get into this, man. So bullet point number one. Um, we're gonna start off with leaders. Um, Today, man,
Hmm.
we could definitely go one direction with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna keep it solid on what our topic is today. Let's identify and talk about some good leaders and people who are in leadership. And I want to throw a little spin on it to let everybody know, like in the past, what a good leader represented, right? And then we'll break it down to what a good leader represents today. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I see you. I'm gonna open up the comments. If you want to comment, that's great. Uh, the topic of the day once again is there are still good people among us, and there are still good people in the world. So, bullet point number one: leaders, man. What you got for leaders, bro?
Wow. You know, I think kind of in a spirit of what we've been doing, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
kind of keep it going in that way as well, man, because there are so many people doing a whole lot of good that, the majority of us just don't have the wherewithal to even know it's even going on. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, let's say you turn on your news channel and, most of the time they're reporting something that's always not the most positive.
Right.
But, there are times, man, where there are people who are actually doing a lot of good
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of just flies under the radar. And, sometimes that's by design,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. But, other times, there's just things being overlooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's just a great quality of leadership itself because sometimes you just don't feel like, oh, I have to be credited for this. You're just kind of like, hey, I'm going to do the right thing because even if no one else is watching, God is.
Boy, man, that's a strong one. Uh, as you always bring the strong points. Wow. Um, so when I think of leaders, man, throughout history, the person that just jumps up and smacks me in the face every time is Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If there was ever a leader, man, who was strong in the good people category,
Wow.
it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., man. And he literally put his life on the line uh, because of the cause that he was trying to bring to the world and let people of all backgrounds see through his eyes. You know what I'm saying? And here we are years later, realizing his vision in most cases. I'll say it like that. What's your thought process, bro?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm always with MLK. Yeah, man. There, the way he carried himself, of course, you know, he wasn't perfect, and there are some people who, you know, try to bring up those things, but
Mhm.
I think that's also part of being a great leader, because it's not necessarily being without flaw.
Mm.
It's about being great or still being the best version of yourself in spite of yourself.
Man, I'm glad you said that, bro, because a lot of people have come to overlook that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Uh, there are days where people are missing the mark. You know what I'm saying? They're not feeling it. They're not on point. You know, might be a little edgy. You know what I'm saying? But then there are days, man, that they are razor sharp, bro. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can't get nothing past them. You know what I mean? So realizing that people are people and nobody's perfect. Um, you want the right people in the right place at the right time with the right frame of mind. You got it?
That's it.
Uh, so with that being said, man, I usually try to stay away from this, but I think it's a great example of today. I'm gonna start off here, and you're definitely gonna know where I'm going. I'm gonna hit Barack Obama because if there was no Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I honestly believe there would not be a Barack Obama because he started something way back in the day that other people started prior to him that led to him being who he was so he could do what he did to make that change, right? So since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did what he did to make the change, it allowed years later for Barack Obama to do what he did to make the changes that he was able to make, right? Uh, and both of those individuals, and I'm leaving out a whole lot of individuals in between and prior, uh, were in the right state of mind and they were in the right place at the right time to be effective in the manner that they were effective, right? And here we are today, a few years later than Barack Obama, with another opportunity for an individual to do the right thing for the most part at the right time. You know, it's a huge opportunity today for someone like Kamala Harris, who has broken records by being the first woman and black vice president, which is strong, man. And the opportunity she has in front of her, which is like weeks away, literally, uh, is to be the first woman and black president of the United States of America. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, man. The fact that, you know, she is in a position that very few ever get a real chance to, and I mean, particularly in this country, no one's, I don't think, have the shot she's actually had. I know we had, you know, Hillary Clinton a few years back as well, but
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, Harris has an actual even better shot to probably actually win the election. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always good to see a first time for everything, if you will.
Yeah, man, we are living in historic times, bro. Uh, I mean, so many things happening left and right, man. But leadership is a great one, and I'm gonna jump into a whole nother category, man. Because I believe this guy is truly a leader, especially when it comes to hip hop. And I'm talking about Mr. LL Cool J himself, who's 40 years strong, 40 years strong in the hip hop game. Just dropped a new one, man.
Mm-hmm.
And his joint with Eminem is blazing. If you haven't got a chance to check it out, man, check it out. But he's a leader, man. And I was listening to some of his interviews, and he literally said, now this is the position he's in. He's making his album, right? He's putting songs together. And he's like, I think Nas would be good for this one. Let me call him up. Boom. Guess what? Nas is on the song. I think Eminem would be good for this. Let me call him up. Boom. Guess what? Eminem's on the song. So he's got that type of leadership in hip hop, that respect that he can pick up the phone. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got to be like, let me call your people or you get with my people. He's got direct contact and that direct respect to where he can just call somebody, say, hey, check this out. I want you to be a part of it. And they're like, oh, duh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what's your thoughts on that, bro?
I love what you just did and how you brought that up and how you made it all mesh in together, man, because I love the fact that, you know, both LL and Nas are, you know, both Queens representatives.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, just to kind of, I know we've kind of, you know, veered in a slightly different direction here, but it's like just to see how far the culture has come. You know, from the veterans, you know, it's kind of like, you know, once upon a time, if you was 30 or maybe a little above that, it was like you the old guy trying to rap. And now it's like, you know, and I think Nas actually started this, man, where, you know, a lot of these legends are really coming back like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop a new album. And these guys, and, you know, they're doing quality work too. And I'm like, all right, I can get behind that.
Absolutely, man. And it's leadership, man. You know, it's teaching the new school the game of longevity. You know what I'm saying? And that's what leaders do, man. And there are great leaders out there. And I think I highlighted a lot of them. You got anybody in mind?
Yeah, man. I think wow. It's so many of them, you know. How do you
absolutely.
And I guess it's only fitting. I'm gonna go Malcolm X.
Okay.
And I think it's so funny because when most people tend to think of Malcolm X, they always kind of think of him being on the opposite spectrum of someone like a Dr. King. But I think the thing that gets missed in that when people do their comparisons with both of them is that they both literally wanted the exact same thing, but they just had different ways of trying to get to that same result.
Boom. So I have a saying that I use for myself, right? It's like, you may not like my methods, but you're going to love my results. Right. And so for Malcolm X, his methods worked very, very well with the Nation of Islam, right? For what they have set up and the structure that they have set up and how he became involved with them, his leadership is unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Where he started with them and where he took them.
They're still feeling the effects, you know, of that.
Historic. So yeah, man, there's still good people in the world. You got any examples of somebody today because of Malcolm X?
Man, I would say okay. Here's a really, this is going to be a interesting, I guess, spin.
Okay.
But of course, the guy in my background.
Okay. Go there.
And the reason I'm gonna take it there is, you know, when Nas first started out in like, you know, 92, he obviously he was young. You know, you're talking about maybe 16, 17, dropping a classic verse with Main Source, and you know, he had this street persona, which was kind of similar to probably that of a young Malcolm X way before he was Malcolm X, but more like Malcolm Little. And then you know, when you fast forward, man, to today, and you know, he's now doing business mergers and has offices on multiple coasts of the country, and you know, he's trying to create jobs through you know, even casinos, because people love to do their gambling and so forth.
Right.
So it's kind of like, you know, seeing how far he's come. there was a many a times early in his career where they were like, man, is this guy going to live to see his own release date?
Wow, that's powerful.
And
That's powerful.
here he is now with like what 16, 17 albums. He's still dropping. Still, he's doing tech, business in the tech industry.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just like, that's kind of, I think, what Malcolm X was envisioning, was seeing, younger black men be able to kind of do something in their youth, but
Mhm.
also let it carry them and sustain them while as they got older and aged with grace.
Man, that's perfect. Bullseye. Let's move on to the next one, man. There are still good people in the world. There are still good people among us. The next category, a bullet point we got here, is teachers. Um, Dude, absolutely, teachers are underrated. Good teachers, and
Man,
they're definitely underpaid. Uh, and they have to have a certain type of quality about themselves. First of all, to even be a teacher, it takes a lot to be a teacher, man. But it takes a lot more to be a good teacher. And I'm going to use this example. I'll probably use this example a lot. But dude, I had a writing professor, and um, the first day, the teacher had an assignment on the board, right? And it was just to write a paragraph. And we had so much time to write the paragraph. We all wrote the paragraph. It could be about anything, right? So the teacher graded everybody's paragraph, and it was so many red marks on everybody's paragraph. It was sick. It was it was depressing, actually. So the teacher held up everybody's. She didn't talk about the name of who did it, but she just held up and showed everybody all the red marks, which were incorrect ways to, punctuation and all that good stuff. Uh, so the teacher's statement was very effective. Today, you're not writers, but by the end of this class, your paragraphs will have no red marks and you will be writers. And we was like, man, what the heck? That was a strong statement, yo. And then from that point on, that teacher just had the assignments on the board. We come in, we do the assignment, and they were posted up in the corner, right? And the teacher always put their name on the board. And one day, I just noticed that the name in the book that we was reading from matched the teacher's name on the board. So I had no idea that the person that was instructing us was the author of the book that they was teaching from. That was powerful,
wow.
bro.
Yeah.
And their methods and strategies definitely worked extremely well, man. That was a teacher. That was a great teacher. You know what I'm saying? But that's my example of a good teacher from back then, man. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. I think I love this topic as well, man. Because teachers, like you said before, the good ones,
Mhm.
they are so underappreciated, and
Yeah.
a lot of times all the good that they actually do goes, I hate to say, unnoticed, or at least it seems that way.
Mm-hmm.
They're underpaid, just undervalued,
Right.
but yeah, man, to your point, I can definitely relate to that in a way of just having teachers make long-lasting impressions on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for me, I had it's ironic, I had an English teacher as well. And this was actually in my high school years, and I don't know if I think I've told you this before, but it was actually her last word of a yes or no that even determined if I would probably ultimately keep on writing during that time.
Okay.
So I had just, I was really new in writing,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of showed her a poem, and this was during the time where newspapers were actually still relevant, and people still read them. And
Strong point. Go ahead, bro.
so I found a poetry contest through there, and I asked her if she thinks I should submit this poem that I had written.
Hmm.
So she read the poem and was just like, "Yeah, you should definitely submit this."
Hmm.
But it's funny because, you know, even though everything turned out really good for me at that time, I was still young and upcoming.
Hmm.
So has she given me any indication of, you know, negativity or that I wasn't good enough? You
Right.
know, who knows what would have actually ultimately resulted. So I'm just like, you know, those long lasting impressions, sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're kind of just minor, but still some way, somehow have a long lasting impression. And it kind of makes the world better.
Man, for real, man. I'm gonna say this example real quick because this is true to life for my son. His what first grade teacher was such a good teacher, man, an instructor that we are still in contact to this day. She came to his high school
High school
graduation.
graduation, I
She
remember.
came to his college graduation. And dude, you know, I think that's the best example of a teacher that I could come up with from today. Incredible, man. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
We actually went to her wedding. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
it's incredible, man. It's great people out in the world. It's great leaders in the world. Definitely great teachers in the world. But we now are going to jump to fathers. Man, does this title here, this bullet point here, it gets beat up. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
It gets beat up, man. For obvious reasons, because there are people out there who are not the best
That's
at,
right.
at being a father. But we all have to realize if it wasn't for fathers, we wouldn't be here, right? So they were good for something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So they were good for something. So let's just dig into this, man. I'm gonna go Eminem because a lot of people talk about Eminem in a negative way, but dude, what Eminem did for his daughter is definitely good leadership as a father, good teaching as a father, good role as a father. Man, he skipped a lot of things in his career to make sure he was there for his daughter, man. My hat's off to him for that. That's incredible because a lot of people don't do that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? There's a lot of stars and celebrities out there who miss the child life of their children for touring and just getting that money and getting after it. And it affects the relationship in the long run, you know, and it also affects that child in the long run. But that's my example. What you got, bro?
Man. Thinking of great fathers, man. I think I'm gonna go a little closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
So my actual father-in-law, of course, we actually just laid him to rest last year.
Yeah, man.
But he was actually close. Our relationship was kind of like a father-son, not like an in-law type of scenario.
Right.
And the way he of course he had made his, you know, fair share of mistakes in the past with, you know, my wife and so forth. But what I think the thing that I take from him and as part of his legacy is, you know, it's never too late to get it right or to make the attempt to try to get it right.
Man.
And during those last years before he, you know, got sick, he was an awesome father, man. So it was just kind of seeing, you know, his evolution, if you will, in fatherhood, from, you know, the mistakes made in the past to where he was more stable and you know, able to be more consistently present for his children, man, makes me feel like, yeah, that's just kind of what fathers should actually be and what they should look like.
Right, man. And you know, for a lot of fathers, man, you know, it's hard to get it right, you know, especially when you become a father earlier than
Right.
should do. A lot of people aren't ready for fatherhood, man. But a lot of people step into that role, and a lot of people just raise the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In my personal situation, man, uh, my father, um, he was my father. I say it like that. Um, but he missed the mark on in a lot of areas, right? Because his priorities weren't where they should have been. Me coming up, seeing that, and realizing that, and analyzing that, um, instead of making those same mistakes and those different decisions that he made, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be there for my kids. I'm gonna do what I got to do for my sons, and that's the beginning of it, and that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? So I put my armor on, right? My dad armor. I'm like, yo, this is what I got to do. This is what I'm trying to do, and I'm gonna do it. And that's what's been going on, man. So um, I had to use other examples of good fatherhood, good leadership, good teachers, in order to make me what I am today, because I didn't get it from my father, but I got it from somewhere else. What's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, man. I think the beauty of that story, of your story, man, in that regard is, people don't understand how everything has a cause and effect in one
Mm,
direction or another.
mm,
So just like you have those positive, role models who affect their children in a way, you also have, situations that are less than stellar
mhm.
that also affect your children in one way or another. Sometimes it doesn't have an adverse effect on
Right.
the child. Sometimes that bad experience makes them say, okay, I'm going to take this and do much better than what was, before me. So
Yeah, man. You got anything else? We want to keep it moving.
no, man, I think your story was good.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate that. We're gonna move on to the next bullet point. There are still good people among us, and there are still good people in the world. We're gonna talk about the elderly, man, because I think a lot of respect has
Mm.
been lost
Oh my God.
for the elderly, man. Especially with the generation coming up, man. They they don't respect themselves, so how they gonna respect somebody else, right?
Right.
Not all of them.
Right. It's just to the ones that it applies to.
Yeah, right, right, right. So let's talk about the elderly, man, because without the elderly, let's face it, we wouldn't be here,
I'm
right?
telling you.
So they had to put it down and represent uh, the good and the bad, but we're focusing on the good today. The elderly, they put it down so that things could be better for us, and they did things, whether it was put their life on the line or put their credit on the line or put their reputation on the line or just put their efforts on the line to make things better for the future. And man, I got to go here because it's just pounding my head, right? Uh, the Underground Railroad,
Hmm.
um, the amazing things that went down with that, and the young lady who put that all in effect, man. And I know a lot of people know who I'm talking about. Um, dude, can you imagine risking your life to
For
go
freedom
from a?
itself.
All right, so you made it, right? You made it out of slavery, but you returned to those areas to bring other people out, knowing
Wow.
that it's a vicious, risky, and life-threatening trip, man. But if it wasn't for her, we would have missed a lot. What you got, man?
Yeah, man. I love, bringing that up, man, in that situation.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, I'm always big on history, so it's hard to not appreciate you bringing that up, right?
Right.
um, man, and here's my thing too. Even like going back to what you mentioned before about how a lot of the youth doesn't appreciate the wisdom of our elders,
Boy.
and I mean, it bothers me, because I'm from the school where you see a older man or older woman, it's yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir.
Absolutely.
You actually listen to what they had to say, even if you didn't always agree with it, but you always listen to what they had to say, because it's like, man, if they're 80 or 85 years old and they're talking to you, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, they may not necessarily be right about everything, but man, they know something, because they
Right.
wouldn't be here as long as they have been here if they didn't.
Absolutely.
So in a generation, man, who doesn't value life, who, where if they don't live beyond the age of sometimes 21 or 22,
Boy.
they don't care. Yeah, man, we definitely got to get back to actually loving our elders.
Yeah, which starts with loving ourselves, right?
Right.
So when you appreciate yourself and respect yourself, then you can have respect for others. But respect is earned. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. There's some elderly people out there. There's some they got some issues, right?
Yeah.
But it's it ain't everybody. It's just a couple people. Uh, but I want to talk about Charles Barkley in the NBA. He was one of the players in that school who were loyal to their team. You know what I'm saying? They would sign a lifetime contract to their team. And nowadays, players are more loyal to themselves, and they want that big fat contract up front so that they can be good for the rest of their life or whatever career, you name it. But it was elders in the game who are retired now, like Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, the list goes on, who built that loyalty with the teams so that the NBA itself can respect the players. It's not just players, but marketable prospects, you know what I'm saying? Brands, you know what I mean? So Charles Barkley may have a little issue with these guys signing these big contracts, but it was his loyalty and others' loyalty to the teams that built that. You know what I'm saying? So when these new players come in thinking that they can just diss these old schoolers in the game who are retired, it's whack, man. You can't disrespect somebody who paid the way for you. So you got to have that respect, for your elders in the game who laid it out, blood, sweat, and tears, so that you can do what you can do today. You know what I'm saying? Just because you got skills don't mean you have the full package to do what it takes, right? It's a constant learning effort. It's a constant adjustment, because things change every day, right? Can Michael Jordan do the same things today that he did back then? No, because he's older. But if he still had that youth in his body, oh, heck yeah. He would destroy these young cats. You know what I'm saying? But you got to respect your elders, man, because there are good elders in the world. And because there are good elders in the world, we are here. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. I think you said a mouthful. Yeah. Bullseye statements, man, because
Thank you.
I think so much gets lost in the shuffle of everybody just kind of sees how things are today. And everybody's like, yeah, look, such and such just signed this, this ridiculous contract for this amount of years. But people, like you said, they often forget that players used to be lifers when it came
Yeah.
to their organizations, and
Mhm.
it's actually the trust built in that is what really sets it up for everything we see today.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I love that point, man, because it's just the truth.
Thanks, man. So the truth. Let's rhyme with the truth and go to the youth. There are still good people among us. There are still good people in the world, and there are good youth among us, man. And I use these examples when I talk to my sons all the time, man. There are kids who are like 12. You know what I mean? Doing some amazing things,
Mm,
bro.
man.
They're like Olympians. You know what I'm saying? They're like winning these national spelling bees. They're like playing piano like they're Mozart. You know what I mean? It's people, these young people, man. They're doing some incredible stuff and making tons of money and acting and you name it across the board. They're incredible, man. And then they're doing all the good that they can do at a young age. Will they get burnt out before they get old? I don't know. Some of them do, but they are really achieving and utilizing all their efforts to do good in life, right? And then, I use those examples for my sons when I'm talking to them, trying to motivate them, and they like, that ain't me, dog. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I'm not saying that they're not good. They just don't have that big time focus and those big time results. What do you got, bro?
It's funny you bring that up, man. There are some extraordinary youth out there because this is so funny. My wife and I just last night, she was just kind of scrolling through her video feed,
Uh-huh.
and it pops up a little baby, man. She was only like a year old, and the mother gets home from work and she's talking to her daughter like, how was your day today?
Mm-hmm.
And no, first it started off with the mother telling her how her day was, and she's literally carrying this conversation on with this 1-year-old, man. It was like, no way. And
Yeah.
then, she was, later on in the conversation, she's like, well, how was your day today? And she like literally starts telling her about her day, man. And it was like, yeah, like to see the intellect of the youth, I would say it this way. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
like the kids are getting smarter
Mhm.
earlier.
Mhm.
Stories of kids graduating from, college, at the age of like 14.
Yeah.
Things are happening, and it's kind of like I wish the news would highlight that a little bit more,
Boy.
and let the other youth see, okay, I can actually achieve this, or life doesn't have to be all bad for me.
Man. Wow. Strong statement, bro. I think we're doing it today. Yeah, man. let's refocus for a second and pull up one of our segments, man. Since we're talking about youth and whatnot, and the people that do good, I want to highlight some youth that don't really do, or they didn't really do so good, to kind of blend into what we're talking about here. And what we're talking about is I didn't see it and I didn't heard it all. So this first example I got here is police say a pair took a New York City subway train on a joyride and crashed it. So you got, right? Of all the things to do, right? You got a couple of youngsters. One of them ended up being arrested. They're teenagers, right? They decide to jack a subway train and go on a joyride. And they crashed it. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
I will say that oh man, young people, if you're watching, the decisions that you make take very pay attention to the detail of the decisions that you make, because every decision that you make, no matter how large or small,
Or how
will
ridiculous.
or how ridiculous, will have an impact on your life in some shape, fashion, or form.
Man, look.
Wow. Wow.
And I got one more, man. It's kind of the same area, but a little different. An 8-year-old Ohio girl drove an SUV on a solo Target run. Apparently, she really needed something from Target, right? So she jacked an SUV, man, from her own Ohio home and drove it for miles to a store where she was later found. She was unharmed, but an 8-year-old, bro.
Man, that's scary, bro.
I mean, apparently she been paying attention to whoever was driving, right? But she hopped in and
Wow.
got a ride on and went to Target. She just had to get to Target or something. I don't know. That's crazy, bro. But I done seen it and I done heard it.
Heard it all, man. Dang.
The youth, man, right? But look at the possibilities, right? If they can do stuff like that, you know, have a conversation with their parent at 1 year old,
Mhm.
telling them about their day. If they can jump in a subway train or SUV and just go, right? They're definitely brilliant. You know what I'm saying? They're just using their brilliance in the wrong manner.
Right.
So if we get
Limitless
out-
potential for good, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's keep it going, man.
Wow.
So, topic for today, once again, thanks for y'all tuning in. There are still good people among us. There are still good people in the world. And the next bullet point is colleagues, people that you work with, people that you're around doing whatever. It's some great, outstanding people out there. And a lot of people would not be where they are or who they are without the right colleagues that are good for them and their lifestyle and what they're trying to do. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna make it a little personal. I like this one.
Okay.
My current supervisor, where I work,
Mhm.
is awesome. So he makes it, even though we're in the middle of a huge change, rebranding, all of that, but even through all of that, he still tries to do his best to make sure that we're not only prepared for the change, but that we can kind of hit the ground running as the change takes place.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things when you have someone batting for you every day to upper management and defending you and your team, and I mean that's that kind of leadership, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's invaluable.
Absolutely, man. And I got an example that's close to home too, man. First time ever, I've had a supportive team that supports me, so I can not only get to where they at, but I can lead the people that are under me to be where I'm at one day, right? So, and I'm gonna go back and give you a little story about it, because I was at this position before, not with this particular company, but another company, and I was getting down in my position, making a difference, right? But instead of the leadership team above me, my colleagues working with me, helping me get better, they started utilizing my efforts to make themselves look better, and I got dumped on, right? So it was like I was handling my business with my responsibilities, and they saw that I was making an impact and setting the tone, you know what I'm saying, raising the morale of the people that were under me, and they weren't able to do it, right? And they even tried some of my methods, but since they weren't me, and it's not their normal character, of course it didn't work with the people, right? You know, so they approached me and they was like, you know, what are you doing? I'm not treating people like people, you know. taking care of my people, paying attention to what their, concerns are, and handling business. Of course, they didn't understand what I meant. They couldn't feel it because they weren't where I was with that, right? So instead of, seeing what I was doing, working with me and getting, I guess, tutoring from me, they all band together and started dumping on me. They started dumping their workload on me, and which made my job a lot harder, right?
Wow.
And so I was like, am I gonna be done like this for real? Am I gonna allow this? And I had to make a decision, bro. And my decision was no, because I'm not gonna allow myself to be done like that, right? I want to be respected. I want to be treated right. I want to do my job and do well with it. But I want the upper leadership team to help me get better, challenge me to get better, push me to get better so I can get to where they are, and then bring the people that are under me up to where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it works, right? So I got out of that situation, and the situation I'm in now is so much better, dude. I got that support. You know what I mean? I'm listening to, the leadership that's around me now is stronger than I am. So they're making me stronger so I can make the people up under me stronger. You got that? So that's my scenario for colleagues, man. And it's really working. And I can see the difference in me because I'm working with these people and they're working directly with me, right? And it's having an impact on the people that I'm training and getting ready for that next level. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. It's an effort of conjunction, man. Everything has to be done. Long as all the parties understand the most important aspect of there's one goal to achieve, and as opposed to trying to work against someone, you have to kind of understand that if you work together, not only can the goal be achieved, but you can actually achieve the goal a lot easier because everybody's going for the same thing.
Boom.
And everybody's just playing their role to make sure that we can all reach the same goal.
Absolutely. Or go beyond that goal because, you don't really know what's possible until you do it.
You do it, right.
So let me use an example of a track and field competition, right? So if you go back 5-10 years, there was a record 5-10 years ago, right? But since then, how many times have those records been broken?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because people are realizing, yeah, that's a record and it's a difficult one. But if I do what I need to do and focus like I need to focus, I can go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? So if you have the right colleagues training you and supporting you and pushing you, you can do some amazing things that are not even on the map yet. Right. So that's the thing, man. We can go beyond even what we think is possible because we just don't know. We haven't tapped into that focus yet, right? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's always when you look at someone's full potential. Most people don't give a full potential effort. Therefore, it's hard to actually see them reach their full potential. So, I mean, it becomes a little bit more simplistic. I think it's how I'm painting it, but I think it is that simple. You are what you eat. Your efforts, do manifest themselves one way or another. So if you have a lack of effort, you'll have a lack of results.
Boy, let's leave it at that, bro. I think the point is made on that one. Yeah. So on our next bullet point for there are still good people among us, there are still good people in the world, we're going to go with innocent bystanders, dude. And I think this is the strongest example thus far because these are people we don't know, right? So, yeah, man. So I'm going to highlight something that I was like an innocent bystander in. and then I'm gonna highlight something that somebody else was an innocent bystander in. The first one is I was at the mall, right, years ago, and there was a situation that was quickly escalating. There was a guy who was mistreating this girl. I'm thinking they had some type of relationship or something. But dude, it was just a horrible sight to see. It was horrible to even realize that something like this was going on, period. But this was the public, right? I mean, it's bad enough that things like this is just occur, period, right? Behind closed doors. But you're talking about in a mall, shopping mall, with
Everybody there.
hundreds
Right.
of people, right? And so I went and I was paying attention to what was going on, but you know how you are, you're like, oh, I don't want to get involved, and you know, maybe it'll work itself out. But it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm an innocent bystander, right? I don't know these people. But I ended up approaching this dude, and I'm saying, hey, sir, really don't know what's going on here, but it's not going to happen on my watch. I was like, I'm not going to let this happen and then continue while I'm present. I was like, if that's what you're doing and that's what she allows you to do behind closed doors, that's your thing. But I'm not going to allow this to go down in my presence. And if you don't stop, I'm going to have to stop it. You know, and I just kind of left it like that. And he kind of looked at me like, who do you think you are? And I looked at him like, dude, you don't even want to find out. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, whatever y'all got going on right now, it ain't gonna happen right here. You know what I'm saying? And that's that scenario, right? What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting because man, you always hate to see something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly, it doesn't have any place in a civilized society, whether it's in public or in private, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because, man, it's one of those things where I've seen people. No, I've heard stories of people doing what you did, and it didn't always go as planned.
Yeah, it can go
So-
crazy, man.
So
That's,
it kind
that's
of
why I was kind of, you know, hesitant. But once it got worse, I was like, you know what, I just gotta do. You know what I mean?
right.
Go ahead, bro.
Doing, you know, it's great, man, that to have that I guess good Samaritan mentality to try to diffuse something like
Mhm.
that, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, it's so many ways I can go with this, but I'm gonna just say you did the right thing.
Thank you, appreciate it. Sometimes it's hard to do the right thing, man, because of what could transpire from it. But you know, there are good people out there. And that day, I was definitely representing the good people.
For
You know what
sure.
I'm saying? Which is what I try to do every day. You got any examples, bro?
Man, trying to think, man. There are a lot of times, man, where you just kind of witness stuff directly or indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time where you have to find yourself being the mature person in the room, if you will,
Yeah.
because I've noticed, here's a good story. I have one of my own.
Okay.
I remember, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but way back when I was in high school, there was this youth summer program, NYSP, National Youth Sports Program.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, man, because it gave kids a nice little 6 to 8 week period. Just kind of, it was like a summer camp, but it was fun.
Right.
And when you realize your own value or your own power in leadership, things kind of hit differently.
Right.
So when I got there, I was a part of a group who had never really actually won the whole thing because it was kind of like a competition, and it was more than just about sports. You had to still conduct yourself, properly within a classroom setting as well.
Right.
So it was kind of like, okay. And everybody who was there before me was like, man, this is at the beginning of the whole event. They're like, man, we've never won it. We don't expect to win it, but it would be nice to.
Uh-huh.
And I came in with the mentality like, hey, if we just do what we got to do, we could win it.
Right.
But I didn't realize how much my voice or my influence actually carried, because in normal circumstances, these people would have been getting docked points left and right for misconduct or doing this and that.
Uh-huh.
And I would be the one to be like, hey, y'all, let's straighten up so we can get these points,
Right.
And it was like, incredibly enough, it was like silent sometimes. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, I think when I was able to let them realize, hey, this goal is not only attainable, but literally, if we do what we have to do, we'll win it. I think once they ended up seeing that vision, it was nice, man. And
Absolutely.
long story short, we get to the end and we actually won the whole thing.
Hey, man, that's great to hear. Congratulations, man. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes it only takes one voice to trigger everybody else's thought process and effort. And it's most of the time it comes from an innocent bystander, man. And I got another example from a different perspective. I was on a vacation trip, and there was an elderly woman who probably shouldn't have been in the water by herself, got in the water. And the country that we were in, their emergency response team system was not like ours. I just say it like that. So they acts like they didn't really know what to do because they probably just didn't see that every day, right? So fortunately, there was an innocent bystander who was a nurse that jumped in and took over the situation to bring that person back to life, reality, you know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't for that innocent bystander being there taking control of the situation, that person might have lost their life that day. You know what I'm saying? Because of the different country that we were in didn't have the same setup that we do here in America. So yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's powerful, especially when the right person just happens to be in that vicinity. Yeah, right. Absolutely, man. So we're gonna keep it moving, man. We're gonna move on to the next bullet point. There are still good people in the world. There's still good people among us. Women. Let's go ahead and do it, dog. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Yeah. So women, man, you go first, man, because I'm a go ahead, dog. I'm just
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
So, man, there are so many good women in the world. I think, we live in a society where it kind of highlights a lot of foolishness. So a lot of times people don't realize still that the most valuable resource to us as men, especially, is women, the woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I tell you, obviously, man, without them, I just got to keep it real. There's no us, we literally enter the world through women. So, that value unto itself, they're life givers. And for the ones who understand the beauty of their role, the femininity of being a woman it has a way of turning a lot of situations for the good, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you're a woman and you're actually doing what a woman does, it just honestly, man, it makes the world better.
It's a powerful, extremely powerful uh, role to play, and I'm sure it's not easy. I'm sure it's a lot of difficulty just being a woman, but the power in their presence,
Hmm.
and when you have the good woman support behind you, literally anything is possible, bro. Um,
Absolutely.
so, man, it's definitely a lot of good women out there. Um, there's also some not so good women,
Right.
but we're not highlighting that today. We're highlighting the good women. Um, and I think everybody can probably find something good in their own woman in their life, whether it's a wife or a sibling or a parent. You know what I'm saying? There's you could probably list at least 10 good women that you come in contact with in your life, right?
Right.
Most people, it's their mother. You know what I mean? So, all right, are you good? So I can go into my
Go
my.
ahead, man. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, bro, I've been tied to some not so good women for different reasons. Not to say that they're not good people or good women. I'm just saying that my experience with those particular individuals is not good. Sometimes good, but overall not good. And with that being said, I still recognize the strength of a woman and how good their connection is to life and good things in life. Um, Even in the worst situations with women, you can find good things about them, right? So, with that being said, there's good in everybody.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And throughout every type of person, in every background of people, you can find probably the most good in a woman. You know what I'm saying? What do you got, man? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you highlighted that really well. Yeah, man. I just can't help but just continue to think how, I mean, without a woman, man, we just simply don't exist. Like it's one of those things where I know that, obviously, as you stated before, not every woman is of the best quality per se,
Mhm.
but man, for the women who are of the greater quality, man, the impact that they have
Yes.
on people like you and I,
Yeah. Absolutely.
words can't really measure.
No, they can't. And I don't think there are words that can be created to equal the true value of a good woman. You know what I'm saying? It's just the things that they do, the things that they say, when they do them, and when they say them, that can spark a dynasty. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
know what I mean? You could be on your worst day ever, facing a nation, right? And the power of a woman can just come in the room and just say one thing or do one thing, and you're like, "Dun, dun, 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 dun."
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Oh man, that's a whole nother segment, man. But you see what we're saying, right? You got it, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So I mentioned mothers, which is women. That's our next bullet point, man. There are still good people in the world, man. And we've highlighted women. Let's highlight mothers, man, because like you said, man, the world don't spin around without mothers getting down. Hey, that's the portal to life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Mothers are the portal to life, man, and it's undeniable. You know, and the way that a lot of mothers get treated, man,
Hmm.
it's ridiculously ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So especially with what's going on now in politics, man. I just think that people really need to restructure their focus on what they're doing and what they're talking about, because a lot of it really don't make no sense, bro.
Hmm.
We've gotten sidetracked, man. Society's gotten sidetracked when it comes to the value of women and the value of mothers. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. I think to your point, there's so much that goes overlooked, or not even necessarily overlooked, but almost purposely ignored, if you will, when it comes to, good women, good mothers. But
Definitely underappreciated.
right.
Mhm.
But I'm going to say this, man, and I hope the statement is strong enough for my conclusion on this topic.
Okay.
Um, I always feel in my mind that anytime a good mother transitions, right, that the world's light gets just a little dimmer.
Actually, I think it does, bro. I think it does. Whether we acknowledge it or not, or speak on it or not, it definitely does, man. Since you mentioned that, my mother has transitioned as well, and it's been years now. And dude, I find myself doing things that I used to do when she was present.
Hmm.
Still, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, uh, I pray. You know what I'm saying? I pray about a lot of things, and in my prayers, I include the things that are most important and the people that are most important. And I find myself catching myself every now and then because I'm praying for my mom, right?
Wow.
So it's one of those things, man. It's like I do it unconsciously because I did it so much when she was here, right?
Right.
And then when it happens, I'm like, you know, and at that moment, I realized how much I miss my mom. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, man, that's right here, bro.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, man. I think, I kind of can relate to that, man. I still have to pass where my mom used to live
Mhm.
on quite a few occasions
Mhm.
regularly. So it's kind of like, just it's weird, not being able to just pull up on her randomly and say, "Hey, mom, I'm just checking on you," or
Right.
just whatever, man. And it's weird too, because of course, a couple days ago, she would have had her birthday.
Yeah.
So it's I had got a lot of calls and text messages from family and
Mhm.
people checking in, and which I appreciated. So, but yeah, I think in short, what we're saying is that it doesn't, when that mother, that good mother, really does transition,
Mhm.
the weight of that loss never actually lifts. It's kind of something that you just kind of carry with you for the rest of your life.
And I'm gonna say it like this, bro. I definitely understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna say it's a whole.
Yeah,
It's a big chunk missing.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? What used to be a complete surface or a flat surface or uh, you know whatever you want to use to analyze it. Uh, just visualize a chunk missing, you know, or main ingredient not being available anymore when something's being prepared, right? So yeah, man, mothers definitely good for society, good for family, good for the world. Because without them, like you said, man, there would be no us. All right,
man.
the goodness of a mother, man, definitely appreciated, but severely undervalued when it comes to mothers and women, bro. Uh,
Man.
last on the list, man. Just like we talked about mothers and women, we talked about fathers earlier, and I did that on purpose. The last bullet point for the day's uh, episode is men. And boy,
Hmm.
boy, do we catch it. and most times, bro, we catch it from the women and the mothers.
Sure. Yep.
Wait, I'm not done. And the youth, and the elderly, and our colleagues, and our teachers, and our leaders, man, we get it from everybody. We already
Bystanders.
So that's why I purposely held this to the end, man. because man, we get it from everybody.
Man,
And it's hard to focus on good after you're taking it from all these other-
everything else.
yeah, man. But it makes us stronger, bro. The good men out there learn to understand that you use these things as fuel to become better. You know, you're good, but you're becoming better. But a lot of men get sidetracked and fall flat to that and go the other direction. You know, it's a lot of other directions that men end up going by some of the choices that they make, and none of those directions end up good, right? So we want to focus on young men, middle-aged men, and elderly men focusing on good, because even though it's difficult, it's hard, it's almost impossible in some situations. Just ask Tyreek Hill. But because you're focused on the good, other good men tend to support and be innocent bystanders to good men and follow good men as well as lead good men. And when men band together, bro, good men, that's when things take
Yeah.
off.
For sure.
That's when things happen, bro. That's when things get resolved. That's when things, just finalize and get way better. You know what I'm saying? When good men work together, anything and everything that seems impossible becomes possible. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm actually gonna piggyback off of you, man, and say that not only is anything and everything possible, anything and everything that's good is actually probable. It becomes something that it's only a matter of time before this takes place, as opposed to if we weren't working together as good men, it would never take place. So it's one of those things where I think, the power of brotherhood, the power of being good from within, being connected to, other good men who have the mindset to try to want to change the world by being that change that they see in the mirror.
Yeah.
As long as we can all get to that point, things will happen. But we just have to, take it one day at a time and try to affect as other men as possible so that we can turn them good as well.
Man, as you were talking, man, it's this lyric from one of the artists that I work with popped in my mind. I actually think it's a saying as well that a lot of people may not be thinking about, but I'm definitely thinking about it as you were talking. And that quote is, iron sharpens iron and men sharpen men. What do you got for that, bro? What are your thoughts when that's said?
Wow. It's funny you bring that up because I've actually used that statement earlier this week.
Okay.
So, my thought process, is, I mean, it's one of those things where, let's say you're in the field of battle in a sporting event. You might have a team that's elite, or you might have an elite defense in the NFL or an elite offense in the NFL. But when one elite player on the team is in conjunction with another elite player on the team, all of a sudden you can bring a group of other players and make them into this incredibly cohesive unit that's like, whoa, this is what, their GM and what their head coaching staff saw or envisioned that we're now finally seeing come into fruition.
Hey, man. As you were talking, I was trying to come up with my example. And like you, man, I got so many things popping in my head that I'm almost like clogged. You know what I mean?
Right.
System shut down. Uh, but I think I'm gonna go here, man. I have 3 sons, right? And they're uniquely unique, each one of them, but each one of them shares some of my characteristics, right? So, and I can see it. I can see it like plain as day, but I can try to explain it to them. They're like, y'all don't know what you're talking about, Dad. But so it's like in my mind as a father, a man, how do I relate my message that's here to them where they can receive it and understand it? That's like the biggest issue that I have with them right now. But honestly, bro, it's not in what I say. I can talk all day, they won't get it. It's in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The good that I do makes sense to them. They receive that, they understand it, they appreciate it, and it makes the biggest difference. So I think when women try to communicate with men by doing this a lot, that's not how we get out. That's not how we work. We are all action. You know what I'm saying? We see something, we pounce on it. You know what I'm saying? We think about something, we do it, right? If there's a need, we're there, boom, we got it. We're not words, we're action. You know what I'm saying? And if women want to sit up and talk all day, we tune out, bro. We zone way out. Cause that, you know what I'm saying? It's like static or just a bad connection, right? We can talk, we can communicate when the setting is right. You know what I mean? But just focus on that, man. Action speaks much louder than words, bro. And that's how men get down. You know what I'm saying? If we're good, all of our actions gonna be good. And people are gonna gravitate towards that and receive it, understand it, appreciate it, and respect it. But if we're saying the wrong thing and if we're doing the wrong thing, guess what? We gonna hear from all them other people in the categories.
You know what? And I'm just gonna add one thing to kind of close my
right.
part of it.
All right.
We as men, we were and we are the original leader. The original leader. So I think for things to continue to progress in our relationships with our women, women just have to understand that our role is leadership, and they have to understand that their role is to love and support and bolster our leadership. And when all those things come together, now you have perfect harmony.
Boom. Ow, man, that was beautiful. Wow. But I will say this. I will say this. The woman's support is actually more important than the man's leadership. Because they are our focus.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
They keep us from going to the left or going to the right. They keep us going. You know what I'm saying?
They keep us motivated, focused. Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and they have that ability, dog. I mean, you could be ready to erupt like a volcano. I mean, everything's going wrong that day. You hate the world. You woke up on the wrong side of the day. Money ain't rolling like it should be rolling. You know, somebody bumped into your vehicle and didn't tell you. They just took off. You know what I'm saying? Somebody stepped on your new shoes, right? Everything's
That's tough.
Everything's going wrong, man. Since the storm is about to go high, right? The storm is about to bust and break wild. And this woman enters into the scene and calms everything.
That storm.
With one word, one motion, or one action. Dude.
And sometimes by saying absolutely nothing but just simply being present and us seeing them, and it's like That's what's important right there.
The sky
Yeah.
clears, the sun comes out, and
Right.
focus remains once again. Man, what an episode, bro.
Yeah. This is great.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Um, you know, me and my man Poetics be getting down on this stuff. It looks simple when we put the bullet points down, but when we actually do the show, man, something definitely comes out of it. I hope you get what we putting down, right? That's what's going on, man. If you don't got anything else, Poetics, I got nothing.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in as you do every week. We appreciate you guys, and please continue to do so. Thank you.
Hey, man. Thank you so much. Like us, follow us. Appreciate what we're doing. Take heed of what we're saying. And maybe life can get just a little bit better. All right. Y'all take care.
Peace.
Peace.